I am honored to introduce a brand new show to you, of course, called Dining with the Chef. Hi, Chef.
Hey, I've done the Nando's. I'm sure you'll be like, yes, that's the Nando's style.
Hello and welcome. It's 10 p.m. in Banjul and this is GRTS News at 10, broadcasting for viewers in the Gambia and around the world. In our headlines, President Barrow meets top brass of the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies at the State House on Wednesday. The Gambia to start polio vaccination campaign on the 19th of March, targeting children under age of 5. And the government donates farming equipment to Rice Farmers Cooperative Association of the Central River region to help them maximize production in rice. In Sports Action Aid, the Gambia launches
this
the
symbolic laying of a
for the
foundation
people
stone
of
in
Central River
Kudang by the
region.
regional governor of Central River
In the
region marks
internationals,
the
FAO
commencement of a
expresses
football
fears
field
that African nations could face shortages of wheat and other foods as Russia continues its invasion of Ukraine. Plus, South Africa is already feeling the effects of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Its retailer ShopRite is worried about empty shelves as the conflict entered its third week. Well, this and much more coming ahead in the next half an hour. My name is Marianne Jai Ajayi, and thanks for joining us. We begin this bulletin with the presidency because the President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, Wednesday received in audience a delegation of the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies at the State House in Banjul. The officials are in the Gambia for a meeting of the General Assembly of Sahelian Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, which is chaired by the Gambia Red Cross Society. Mamadou Jallo has the details in this report.
Over 20 delegates representing Red Cross and Red Crescent societies from the Sahel region are in the Gambia for a high-level meeting that will shape the future of the Red Cross movement for the next few years. They called on the President, His Excellency Adama Barrow at the State House, to brief him about the planned meeting and also thank government for the support to the Red Cross. Speaking to GRTS after their meeting, the National President of the Gambia Red Cross Society, Jato Sina, described the engagement as very fruitful.
We are hosting today an important meeting. The meeting is the meeting of the General Assembly of the Sahelian countries, Sahelian Red Cross, Red Crescent countries, with their partners and their colleagues. So we have a total of over 20 countries that are present here today, all representing different national Red Cross, Red Crescent societies, partners, philanthropies, and of course other countries and the International Federation of the Red Cross and International Committee of the Red Cross. We are here today to look at the Sahel region, the Red Cross activities in the Sahel region, and the plan for the future of the Red Cross, Red Crescent movements in the Sahel region.
He disclosed that the Gambia will chair the rotating chairmanship of the Sahel Group for the next 5 years, whilst it will also seek to win the vice presidency of the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies. Mr. Sila thanked the President and his government for respecting the autonomy of the Gambia Red Cross Society, and reassured that they will continue to serve humanity, particularly vulnerable people and communities. Mamadou Jallo, GRTS News. Over 20 delegates
Now the Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Touré, has presided over the official opening ceremony of the General Assembly of the Sahel Plus Group. The event, hosted by the Gambia Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, brought together international partners to review the activities of the national societies. Farmer Abaji has more.
This meeting is aimed at reviewing the activities of national Red Cross societies, mapping out ways on how the organization's regional affiliations across Africa can support their governments in dealing with existing humanitarian and developmental challenges.
And one of the agendas that emanated from the Pan-African Conference in Addis Ababa was to measure national society performance in terms of their relationship with their governments. Therefore, national societies coming together to discuss one of the key challenges that we face over the past few years, which is food security, livelihood, and COVID-19. And in these two areas, nothing can be done without government, because it's government's role and government's leadership.
Considering the volatility of the situation in our sub-region, the Gambia Red Cross Society remains committed to the movement as a whole.
Members of the national societies describe the convergence as crucial as they work towards strengthening the Sahel Plus group.
This is very crucial gathering during very difficult time in Africa, but also difficult time in the Sahel. It is the issue of hunger. Sadly and very unfortunately in Africa, we have about 100 million people hungry. Good part of these numbers are actually in the Sahel region. Reasons what we see in hunger, this is only a symptom. This is not the root cause. Root cause in hunger are quite complicated and broad, and too many factors. Climate change, we can blame climate change for the drought, we can blame climate change for the floods, but there is the issues to do. If you remember last year, we had issues of desert locust invasions, we had issues of the COVID, we had issues to do with violence across Africa in about 30 countries, but as well in the Sahel region.
The Vice President presiding over the opening of the forum said collaborative efforts are essential in trying times.
You are meeting at a time when the world is challenged with so many and complex humanitarian situations with limited resources. This further reaffirms the need for more collaboration through partnerships, capitalizing on the comparative advantage of all.
Dr. Aissatou Touré further highlighted the government's commitment towards the activities of the Gambia Red Cross Society.
One way in which we have been working to support the Gambia Red Cross is by involving them in all processes undertaken by the government, from policy, planning to implementation at all levels. Our government have provided the enabling environment for the Gambia Red Cross Society to function and undertake its humanitarian and development activities based on the fundamental principles of the Red Cross. For us, Gambia Red Cross have been a credible partner with committed leadership.
This convergence will allow the humanitarian leaders to map out ways to tackle the challenges confronting the Sahel region. Farmer Abaji, GRTS News.
Of Health Promotion and Education has said his ministry is determined to immunize all children under age 5 in the upcoming countrywide polio vaccination campaign. The exercise is set to begin on the 19th to the 22nd of March 2022. Modunjai made the remarks during a press briefing on Wednesday at the Central Medical Stores in Kotu. Yoro Jallo was there and filed in this report.
Speaking at the briefing, the Director of Health Promotion and Education at the Ministry of Health, Modunjai, spoke at length on the significance of the campaign, noting that their aim is to eradicate polio and all forms of child-related diseases in the country and the sub-region in particular. He used the opportunity to appeal to Gambians and non-Gambians alike, especially parents and caregivers, to cooperate with the vaccine teams for a hitch-free campaign.
We are looking at children 0 to 59 months, specifically 0 to 5 years. These are children we need. And then Saturday, at least we are happy that most of them are not going to school, but some of them are also going to Arabic school. And we want to appeal to the Arabic scholars and the people who are also teaching in some of those Arabic schools to also allow the teams and the imams also, they have done their job. The Christian Council, they've all done their job, a very good job in the previous campaign. We want to appeal to the imams and also the priests and also the churches to be able to at least send the message again in the usual summons so that people can be aware of the campaign. We are starting on Saturday, and it's a 4-day campaign. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday we will wrap up. So we don't want to miss any child. We want the support of each and everyone in this area.
Commenting on the importance of the campaign, the manager expanded program on immunization at the Minister of Health, Sidat Fofana, believe vaccination against polio remains the only effective way to prevent our children from the disease.
Just to reiterate that we are starting on the 19th to the 22nd. We are going to enter into every household in this country. And then even the schools, we have worked with the Minister of Education to make sure that private schools, even government schools, we have a lot of nursing schools here. Those of them who will hear this program should ensure that parents of children who are attending this school should ensure that their children are vaccinated to be safe from this polio, which is around us. It's only this country that we don't have.
For her part, the coordinator of Global Polio Eradication Initiative, Dr. Yoma Onorokusi, assured the public, especially parents and caregivers, of the safety and effectiveness of a polio vaccine in the collective fight against the disease.
Let the parents and caregivers know the objective of this exercise. The vaccine we are using is safe and very effective. This country is not the first place that vaccine has been used. It's been used all over the African continent. Many more countries are also conducting these vaccination campaigns just like we are doing in Gambia, and they are using the same vaccine. So I want to use this opportunity to reassure parents the vaccine is safe and effective, and it will protect your children against polio.
For GRTS News, this is Siro Jallo reporting.
Now, collaborative efforts between law enforcement officials and community members in Banjulinding, led by Momodu Jajo alias Rongo, is focused on mitigating accidents in the Banjulinding airport area. The inner city highway leading to Banjul International Airport towards Brikama has become an accident hotspot, affecting communities along the busy road, with fatal car crashes threatening commuter life in the West Coast suburb. MS Jallo witnessed the launching of traffic barriers meant to boost safety.
The Banjulinding Airport area has become a major accident hotspot, affecting commuters and community members in the area daily. In a bid to reduce road accidents, Modulamin Judge of Banjulinding donated traffic signboards and barriers to the traffic unit at the new Yundum police station. The event was attended by senior police officers in the West Coast region.
I'm urging the general public or the citizenry of the West Coast region to emulate Rongo. Rongo should be well emulated. He's not a wealthy man, but he's just giving his quota as a good citizen to see that road safety is observed, and the free flow of traffic is also being observed within this AOR.
Security are universally recognized to form a very important role in safeguarding the desired peaceful environment of any nation. But this cannot be achieved without the participation of the community. We all know police officers cannot be at all places at all times, but with this traffic signboard represents a police officer at a particular area.
Lamin Jajo, alias Rongo, who led the team in handing over the materials, said their intervention is in line with complementing the efforts of the police in reducing traffic road accidents.
The government cannot do everything. Most of the development you see is done by civil society, private sector. That's why democracy is strengthening. And police, honestly, security are doing very, very great. Security are playing a very integral role in this society, in every society. Without security, there is no development, there is no peace, there is no cooperation, nobody will relax. These barriers is not for police, it's for humanity at large. Because the life that it may prevent or it may secure or it may salvage, nobody knows. It's not the life of the police alone, but the community at large.
The spate of accidents on Gambian roads has become a major concern for the citizenry, requiring collective efforts like this one by the community of Banjulunding to minimize fatalities on our roads. Umodest Jalo, GRS News.
Now let's take a look at boosting productivity, where the women of North Bank region have learned new technology to enhance soil fertility and agricultural production by using fish waste, water, garlic and other organic materials to produce a liquid fertilizer. Because a local NGO promoting the conservation of bees in the country provided the training for the women of the Solicitor Federation. Now Farmer Akani has more.
Women are custodians of a rare technology. Few months ago, they benefited from a fish liquid fertilizer preparation supported by Beacos, a local NGO promoting the conservation of bees and honey production in the country. The new product is considered organic. No standardized study is yet done on its viability, but the end users believe that the impact of the product on crop performance and yielding is in no comparison with the NPK. GB Job works with the Beacos, the agency promoting the replication of the technology across many gardens throughout the country. Speaking to GR3 in an interview, she explained the benefits of the liquid fertilizer by starting with the ingredients required in its production.
If you are looking for better crop yields, really pollination is number one, but also to improve the soil fertility is also very important. And this fish waste is into it with the, the project is integrated with beekeeping. We are doing beekeeping and fish waste liquid fertilizer production. For fertilizer now, we train, the aim is to train at least 30 communities.
At field level, women said the product is increasing their yields. With numerous benefits, it can enhance their economic conditions and also reduce the high prevalence of fish waste, a major environmental challenge in the urban area. Today, the project is working with only few partners to intensify this alternative product.
Ladies are running for this, but looking at the total Gambian gardens, we only train for 45 gardens. And now everybody is counting for this new technology because of the impact it is giving. On that note, we are really calling on donors, whoever seen these videos.
Hadi Juve benefited from the training few months ago. She is also the president of her own community garden in the village of Juven. She disclosed both the economic benefits of the product and its overall impact on crop performance.
Liquid fertilizer liter $50 lañ ko jaayé.
Here we sell every liter for $50. It's a good business and is also completely organic.
Pour mu yombal sa wañi sa ferema ba paré business la dal mën nga ci am sa kom-kom.
Fatmata Jan, the president of the Solicitor Marketing Federation, wants the new skills to be replicated in all the villages under her purview. If you discourage farmers from a particular practice, it is important to provide them with an alternative. This liquid fertilizer will help us to improve our soil fertility and enhance our crop performance. Fanta Jaula works with the Agriculture Extension Unit. She also runs a farmer field school in the Juven Garden. Her work entails the transfer of modern farming techniques, one of which is the introduction of organic farming. The Farmer Field School is currently encouraging the use of organic manures. We have trained the farmers on compost making as an alternative approach to reduce, if not stop, the use of inorganic fertilizers. The new product, if supported, can amplify efforts in the management of fish waste often generated across coastal areas and in markets. For the news, I am Farmer Akani.
And now a tap on the back for job well done, because the SL District Hospital has merited its hard-working staff for the year ending 2021 to motivate them and inspire others in the cause to serve humanity. The award ceremony is part of activities marking the hospital's annual reunion. Here's Farmer Akani again.
Awards of certificate, to some staff and friends of the Esau District Hospital for their dedication and commitment to service. The event is part of activities of the hospital's annual awards giving ceremony and data presentation. Based on its geographic positioning and the fact that it is the only major health facility in the North Bank West, the hospital is also the major referral, and for the past years, it has registered tremendous progress in service delivery. Sira Conte is the officer in charge of the facility. In an interview, she told GRTS some of their achievements in the year under review.
If you look at our performance base during the first quarter, second, third, our lowest performance was 88%. So the highest, the third two quarter, the second quarter was our lowest performance. Then the first quarter, the third quarter, and the fourth, we exceeded 90 above.
The recent support from the Ministry of Health to provide both human and material resource to the hospital is greatly acknowledged by Lamin Fofana, the nurse administrator of the facility. However, he calls for more support to boost their overall performance.
I would like to thank the Honorable Minister of Health and the Minister of Health for they are passionate about this facility, because the evidence is apparent everywhere. You can see the structural renovations that are ongoing. You understand? The theater has been refurbished. So CMOC service has been uninterrupted in 2021. So that is a landmark achievement that we have to thank the Honorable Minister and the Minister of Health. But yet still, the facility needs to improve on our indicators. We have exceeded our target in most of the indicators.
Invited at the event are senior staff of the Ministry of Health. Baba Galajalo, the program manager resource-based financing at the ministry, said the hospital has improved in many areas of healthcare delivery compared to the time he used to work there.
Target that they set themselves in some of the indicators, they have surpassed that. I'm really happy that the facility is doing very well, and they institutionalized that quantity data verification within the facility. They look at their own data before somebody will come and say, this is not the correct thing. They look at it, and absolutely we are very happy. Central level do come and see, and what they report and what the facility report is since third, second, and fourth quarter, they have been getting 100%. I'm definitely impressed with that. I'm really impressed with the management. We only hope that the RHD will also support them because they need support. Some of the challenges are beyond them.
I am amazed by the level of evolution in the service delivery of the hospital. Words of Eba Seka, the Regional Health Director of the Central River Region. The staff, he went on, should be commended for their performance.
What inspired me most was the fact that there was a whole year of provision of CMOC services uninterrupted. From the layman perspective, what we mean is the CMOC service is one of the strategies that we use to help reduce the number of women that are dying due to complications, in childbirth, you understand, and even during the pre-period.
The annual event also witnessed data presentation by the various units of the hospital, looking at gains, challenges, and the way forward. For the news, I am Famarakani.
The Rice Farmers Cooperative Association in the Central River Region has commended the Gambia government and Mario Rice Farm Limited for supporting farmers with farming equipment to help them maximize production of the country's staple food. The farmers made the remarks in Kerawan Sambasira village during the delivery of the machines. Usman Balde has more.
The support from the Gambia government and partners is expected to boost production as many, especially women, lack farm tools to support them on the farms. The Regional Agriculture Director of CRR South for the Jadama called on farmers to form an organization where they can seek support to get access to services and help them from government through private partners engagements.
Citizen engagement and participation of the citizens in the agricultural sector is paramount and is relevant. The government also is pursuing a policy called PPP, as I said before, that is public-private partnership for the Gambians who has the money and they have the zeal and the interest to come into the sector, and the government will give them the support. Of course, if you go to supermarkets today currently,
you have a Gambian meal rice from Maro's farm. And Maro's farm is about 5 years old in the Gambia. Therefore, if we are private people who can come and complement the efforts of the Gambia, collaborate with farmers, do production, provide other services that farmers don't have in terms of land preparation, in terms of provision of seeds, in terms of buying and milling, that would motivate the farmer, and they will scale up their production. Therefore, if they scale up their production, we're going to create surplus that we can supply to the local market, and we can get rice and reduce importation.
The president of the Farmers Cooperative Association, Haruna Kasama, and the Alcalo of Kerewan Sambasira, Hamidou Sedi, both hailed the Gambia government and Maro farms in their quick response after years of challenges faced of rice cultivation in the area. 85 farmers' fields are listed for leveling to make sure that water easily flowed from one rice farm to another after years of struggle.
And then the maturity also of the crop, it will be so uniform. That way you should be able to harvest the whole plot at once. And then the most important thing about this is instead of you having just 3 tons per hectare as yield, you should be able to get 8, 9, in fact up to 10 tons for every hectare. This means if you look at our total local rice, I mean the production, we should be able to increase that in 3 folds immediately.
After years of struggling to get such a support from proper rice cultivation in Jahalipacha rice field, the excited farmers promised to work as a team and as well protect the donated farming inputs to better serve them for the intended purpose. Usman Balde, GRT's News.
Well, we now take our first break, and when we return, sports news is up next. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now, Action Aid the Gambia has formally launched a football field fencing project for the people of Kudang Central River region and present checks to schools and football association of the area. Now, Mohamed Lamin Sane has more on that.
This symbolic laying of a foundation stone in Kudang by the regional governor of Central River region marks the commencement of a football field fencing project. Action Aid the Gambia is funding the fencing of this 200 by 200 meter size football field, another delivery of its mandate to support community development. This time, the focus is on sports as officials move to achieve a key priority of the organization.
This is part of rural development, and it's like getting across the country, and everybody has a right to development, particularly infrastructural development, which we all realize has been the plan A of His Excellency the President of the Republic of the Gambia, to make sure infrastructural development is across the whole country. And this is a great gesture by Action Aid, and we really thank them for that. It's not only for Kudam, but the whole of Nyamina and CRR at large. So it's like, it's 200 meters square, it's a huge land. And to maximize the potentials of that area is to include other facilities in it to make it usable.
The vast land provided by the community for the Youth and Sports Association of Kudang is a step collectively taken to discourage irregular migration and create job opportunities.
We have several objectives. One of them is to promote unity among the people. It's also to enhance people's health, but it's about also income generation for the youth. And we are doing it in order to really halt this migration that is going on.
The support program by Action Aid the Gambia also witnessed the presentation of checks to 19 schools and 3 football associations.
Education promotion for Action Aid is something that has been part of our priorities for a very long time, and we continue to do that. And a country without educated people cannot move forward, and that is what actually motivated us. That's what prompted us to really support the schools.
Overjoyed community leaders took time to commend Action Aid.
Man football otorana, volleyball bijele, basketball bijele.
Our intention is to make this a multi-purpose facility so that youths can acquire skills and earn a living from the project. This is the beginning of a major scheme at the community, aims to transform into a multi-purpose sports and skill training facility for young people. Mood Lamin Sane reporting for GRTS News from the Central River region.
Well, with that, we now go for our second break, and when we return, we take a look at news beyond our borders. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Now, the UN Food and Agriculture Organization is calling on countries not to halt their supplies of products, usually exported by Russia and Ukraine. As the conflict between the two countries continues, there are fears that African nations could face shortages of wheat and other foods. Now, correspondent Coletta Wajohi had an exclusive interview on food security amid the Ukraine conflict with Chimaba David, the coordinator for the UN FAO for Eastern Africa. Now here is the report.
The consequences of the Russia-Ukraine conflict could be felt across the world. The World Food Programme says many African countries may be affected by disruptions to wheat supplies. In anticipation of possible shocks, the UN Food and Agriculture Organization says the global supply chain must be left open.
We also appeal to governments not to take decisions that might disrupt the economic order even more by perhaps restricting exports from their countries, because doing so would actually favor the country in question. But this would actually increase the global price. Eventually, these same countries may have to import certain products at much higher price than they bargained for.
The conflict could compound Africa's food insecurity. The UN says already over 250 million people face hunger on the continent. Eastern Africa bears a huge brunt. The UN estimates that at least 13 million people in parts of Kenya, Somalia, and Ethiopia face hunger because of the effects of drought. The UN Food and Agriculture Organization says it needs at least $130 million by June to assist at least 1.5 million of these people. And the situation, it warns, may be about to get worse.
In fact, these countries have had 2 droughts so far, and a 3rd drought is in waiting. That is why we are so much afraid that the assets that we have built over the years using resilience funds and so on may well be eroded. But in addition to drought, we also have flooding in some parts of this region, including South Sudan. Now, we have to be very strategic on how we approach this subject.
With parts of the continent already facing dire hunger, food experts say African countries must work faster towards self-reliance to survive external shocks.
It is also important that farmers or communities that are involved in agriculture and so on try to add value to the crops that they produce, or animals or something like this. The problem with Africa is that it exports raw materials most of the time. So in other words, the value that they get is less than if they had added value to them. Therefore, they would have a lot more money. When in case the prices go up of particular commodities that they import, then they would have the reserves needed for them to import even at that higher price.
The African Union has dedicated this year to strengthen resilience in nutrition and food security on the continent. The challenge is now on the African countries to protect themselves from the disruption that may come out of the Ukraine conflict. Coletta Njohi, CGTN, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
South Africa is also feeling the effects of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Its retailer ShopRite is worried about empty shelves as the conflict entered its 3rd week, while all imports and exports to Eastern Europe have been affected. Sumrita Nyadu tells us more in the CGTN report.
Several consumable goods from Ukraine. With the main ports blocked off in Eastern Europe, containers bound for South Africa are stuck at sea.
From the Ukraine specifically, we had to cancel 11 container shipments. In total, we had to cancel 34 shipments that was going to cross or sail over the Black Sea. Of course, that's now not permissible anymore. We had to redirect those orders to different suppliers. The impact is mostly on three commodities. It's edible oil, maize, and wheat, where Ukraine is the second largest exporter of all three of those commodities.
Price pressures are already impacting the South African market. Fuel prices are at record highs and more hikes are expected. Retailers are bracing themselves for higher inflation.
Wheat and maize, of course, are 70% of the input cost of chicken. So the moment we see those prices go up, we will probably see the chicken follow, and if chicken goes up, then red meat will follow. I would not put my neck out to estimate inflation. Fuel increased 40% over the last 6 months. In the Shoprite Group, we managed to contain our fuel increase to 4%.
Now that was all we have for you in this edition of the News at 10. But before we take leave of you, a quick recap of our top stories. President Adama Barrow met top brass of the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies at the State House on Wednesday. The Gambia start polio vaccination campaign on the 19th of March to 22nd March, targeting children under age 5. And the government has donated farming equipment to Rice Farmers Cooperative Association of the Central River region to help them maximize production in rice. In Sports Action 8, the Gambia has launched a football project for the people of Central River region. Well, in the internationals, FAO has expressed fears that African nations could face shortages of wheat and other foods as Russia continues its invasion of Ukraine. Plus, South Africa is already feeling the effects of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Its retailer, Shoprite, is worried about empty shelves as the conflict entered its third week. Well, that was all in this edition of the news. From the entire news team, we say thank you for listening. Enjoy the rest of our programs on GRTS TV, and it's good night.